Okay, hello dear friends, good afternoon. A Dream of Red Mansions, page 114. Xi Ren left the mansion to return home so that she could stay with her ill mother. Qingwen, meanwhile, woke up with a bad cold. Her nose was blocked and her throat was dry, so Bao Yu suggested she rest in the warm inner room. Bao Yu sent for a doctor to examine her. But when he looked at the prescription, he thought that the medicine the doctor offered was too strong, so he instructed Pei Ming, so she instructed Bei Ming to summon Dr. Wang instead. After Bao Yu had returned from the Lady Dowager's room, he found Qing Wen abandoned on the bed. She was red in the face and seemed to be suffering from a fever. Bao Yu asked where She Yue was, only to learn that Ping Er had called her away. When Bao Yu went to the next room, he overheard the two servants talking, with Ping Er mentioning that Zhuer, a young serving girl, had stolen her bracelet. So Bao Yu saw Qing Wen sick, and Bao Yu overheard they were talking something. The following day, when Bao Yu spotted one of Bao Qin's servant, a girl called Xiao Luo, walking past the court, he went outside and accompanied her to the bamboo lodge. When they arrived, Bao Yu saw Bao Chai, Bao Qin, Dai Yu, and the niece of Lady Xing sitting and talking around the fire. So Bao Yu went with Xiao Luo, and found that Bao Yu, Bao Chai, and Xing Furen are chatting. Page 115. Bao Yu decided to visit his uncle, and so the Lady Dowager gave him a gold and green cloak for the journey. The cloak was invaluable since it had been made from peacock feather in Russia. Oh my goodness. However, when Bao Yu returned that night, he found that there was now a small hole burned in the back of the cloak. Panicking, he asked one of his servants to find someone to fix it. Yet the servant soon brought the cloak back to him, saying that no one dared interfere with the strange and precious material. Qing Wen had been listening to the decision. She managed to push herself up in bed, and despite her her illness, began to fix the cloak herself. Every time she completed a stitch, she would hold up the cloak in front of her, and after every minute of work, she would take a minute's rest to recover. She overcame her dizziness and exhaustion, however, and finally finished repairing the cloak at 4 in the morning. So Qing Wen was actually helping Bao Yu to fix it. Page 119. All the members of the family with titles put on their court dress appropriate to their rank and attended a feast at the Imperial Palace on the 13th day of final month of the year. They followed the Lady Dowager on her sedan chair to the palace and then went on to the ancestral temple at the Ning mansion to offer sacrifice to their ancestors. So everyone wearing the appropriate clothes to pay tribute to the ancestor. They lined up on the left and right side of the temple according to their age and seniority. Jia Jing was the master of the sacrifice and was helped by Jia She. Many offerings were received by Lady Wang, who handed them to the Lady Dowager to be set upon the altar. Once the Lady Dowager had lit the incense, the whole family bowed together, so that the hall seemed to be a gently rippling sea of beautiful silks. Page 117. In the new year, on the 15th night of the first month, a huge feast was organized by the Lady Dowager. The main hall was filled with lanterns, and an opera company was booked to entertain the whole family. This is Chinese New Year. The Lantern Festival is this day. Aunt Xue and Aunt Li were given the seats of honor close to a couch where the Lady Dowager lay. This must be Lady Dowager and Aunt Xue, Aunt Li. With a servant massaging his feet. Her feet or his feet? Yeah, her feet. Yes, Lady Dowager sitting here, lay there, and the two ladies beside her, and she was massaged by a servant. The closest table to the Lady Dowager seated Bao Yu. This was Bao Yu. This was the closest table to the Lady Dowager. Seated Bao Yu, Dai Yu, Bao Qin, and Xiang Yun, Lady Xing, Lady Wang, Madame Yu, Li Wan, Li Wan and Xi Feng were seated at a table nearby, with tables in the hallway held Jia Zhen, Jia Lian, Jia Huan, and Jia Rong. Jia Zhen, Jia Lian, Jia Huan. This might be the page 118. Okay, this is still the banquet. Let us finish the banquet. Jia Zhen and Jia Lian entered the hall, bowed before Aunt Xue and Aunt Li, and then filled their cups with wine. With the women rose to their feet. Everyone else in the room also stood to show their respect. Jia Zhen and Jia Lian then went and knelt before the Lady Dowager's couch. Lady Dowager. Prompting all the young men to all kneel down. The Lady Dowager soon instructed the family's opera company to begin their performance. Must be here or here. The manager soon directed Wen Guan, and 11 other actresses from the Pear Fragrance Court, Li Hua Yuan, along with the few costumes and the props which they thought would be necessary. When the performance finished, it was time to light the firecracker. Thus, the feast carried on till late into the night. So they start to see the performance.